Angels, I've been watching, if you guys have not checked out the Gaia Network, like that is something I would pay money for to have, like, because if you're a spiritual geek like me, it's got every video. It's even got the ones from the 90s, from Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine and all them, because people don't realize, they see all the information that's out here now, but they don't remember where it came from. And this whole self-care revolution started in the 90s, okay? And if you look at the 90s stuff, it's interesting because you can tell it wasn't accepted like it is now. And so when people, that's why some of the stuff's hard for me to read. I've read some Doreen Virtue stuff, but sometimes I can tell she's not totally okay with her ego sometimes, because I keep getting this emphasis that it's real, that this is part of God's plan. And I keep getting this emphasis on, that this is happening. And that's the only thing I don't like about the literature from back then, is I can tell that some people just kind of sometimes it makes it unbelievable the more you repeat that it is believable, because in the end, a human mind is either going to process it as false or fact. And if it is truly fact, then you have to go through the process of really making it that way. But there's so many falsities that come out. Our brain shuts down most of this stuff. And if seeing is believing, right? So if you don't see it, it didn't happen. And that's where a lot of people get that disconnect with their angels and spirit guides, is because they don't see this stuff happening. When I talk to people about love readings, if they don't see immediate results, if it doesn't happen within the moment that I'm talking about it, they don't believe it. And then I've had people who were like just defensive. If you find yourself being defensive when you're asking someone about your love conundrum, that's a number one flag that you have a you have a little bit of a shadow side you're competing with on the love side, and that's why you keep running into a toxic hole. Because your shadow side is not just your ego, okay? We'll break something down to you. You got your higher self, which is I want to do nice things. I want to give out good things, love and light, beautiful, namaste, peace and love, right? That's your higher self. Ego side depends on what it is. If it's I'm going to do better and I'm going to outwin them all, and nobody's going to get on top of me, and I'm going to show them. That's your ego, right? Then your shadow side is the side of you that most of us can't face. I've been facing me and my shadow side play together, but it took a long time, because you have to be okay with those. It's all the stuff that you can't accept about yourself. Okay, it's all the stuff you run and hide from, and you're like, I hope nobody ever finds out that I ever did that in a million years, or I'd be so devastated. And so you push it down, and your shadow side, kind of like these clouds, gets bigger and thicker. And what happens, I was watching this show last night about shadow effects, and ultimately they were talking about the more you push down your shadow, you have to face your stuff at some point, guys. And the more you push down your shadow, it's going to pop up in your life. So I went through this because I wasn't dealing with my shadow side, because I was shamed for it. I was shamed for having feelings because I'm a survivor. And I went through a narcissist learning lesson. And so I wasn't dealing with my shadow side. I was trying to suppress it. Well, it started popping up. And this lady compared your shadow side to a beach ball. If you're in the pool and you lay on a beach ball, it's hard to push that beach ball down under you, right? It can happen. But what happens when there's more beach balls that come in? When you're younger, you can push all these beach balls and get on top of them and win. But when you get older and you got like 50 beach balls of emotions that need to be attended to, and you keep trying to push them down, like, how successful are you going to be? They're just going to keep popping up, and they're going to pop you in your face. that's when I was walking around a couple years ago, and I was going through this divorce with my ex. I was going through all it, and he was trying to literally make me crazy, like certifiably. He was going that far to make me try to be certifiably crazy. And my medical background training there is the only thing that saved me, because he was so slick about it that he was really trying to and I know people out there, if that's going through, that's a narcissism, that's gaslighting, and that's no bueno. But I wasn't dealing with my shadow side, and I was just feeling crazy, and I was not acting like myself. And everywhere I went, I got in an argument. Like, the lady cut my daughter's hair, and there was no reason for it, and she cut it like shorter than this guy's, and then like gave her bangs and then like put them up here. And I was so furious that they had to walk me next door, because I was going to take this lady out because she was being rude to me after this. And I found out, why am I acting like this? And this was happening like time after time. I went to the store, I went to the gas station, I went to get a pack of cigarettes, I went to get anything in my life. I had an argument, I had a moment, and I'm just like, holy cow, what is this? I knew it was something, because it wasn't just me having a string of bad luck. And I found out that's my shadow side. Your shadow side will pop up. So if you ever notice that you're trying to we all wear our mask, right? We have who we are at home, we have who we are at work, we have who we are here on social media. Some of us are all of that at once and we don't care, right? But most of us have a mask we put on. So we have our little, the way that we are at work, and then we have the way that we are at school. You know, you got your school mask that you got to put on, and eventually it's tiring of wearing these masks. And that's why you go through a spiritual awakening, because you get tired of not being your authentic self. And ultimately that toxic shadow side will keep popping up and keep making you do the things that your ego's already trying to make you do. But what it does is, the shadow side and the ego, they become besties. And that's when you do things like sleep with toxic partners, have addictions, because your ego is built in here to keep us alive. Do things like not jump off bridges. Okay, that's what your ego, a healthy ego, is supposed to be. If you don't have a healthy ego, you get ran over by everything, and everybody tells you what to do, and you're scared most of the time, and you live in fear. That's an unhealthy ego. But your shadow side combined in that is like, woo, what kind of muckery can we do today? And they're like, oh, I like that toxic guy. And some and a little bit of that. Ooh, that sounds good. So when you're making those toxic decisions, try not to beat yourself up. One, it's a lesson we come here to learn, and two, it's about you have to release that toxic side. Unfortunately, you have to heal at some point. And until you're ready, that's okay. If you're not ready, that's okay. But I had somebody scream at me the other day that he wanted true love, but he did not have to heal. This is a bunch of BS. And he wasn't talking about me. He was just talking about other people have told him this. And I was like, I'm sorry, if there's another way that you don't have to face your shadow side, or dismantle any of those false beliefs that you've been programmed with, please let me know, because I would love an easier way. But unfortunately, you have to do the work, because that's why we incarnated on this planet, is to do the work. You can't run away from it. If you have been running away from it, it will eventually catch up to you. I am living proof. I thought I could outrun my shadow. I thought I could outrun my ego. Yeah, the angels had a different, they stopped me dead in my tracks. Said, yeah, you're going to sit down your face, all this. Have fun. And there's where my boot camp started of angel healing. And so I tell people not to burn yourself out at both ends, because while I was going through a spiritual awakening, I thought it would be extra fun to start a business and become a spiritual healer. And that was very interesting. It's still very interesting, because you're never going to be totally healed, but you learn as you are a healer. one, it keeps you committed to your healing the more you work with other people. So, but you have to make sure you're clear every day. So every day that I know that I have my stuff to work on before I ever touch a client or think of a client, I am getting my clarity every morning. I'm shaking off all the stuff that no longer serves me, because I need to be a clear vessel for the messages that I share with everybody out there. And I take what I do seriously, because I've told people messages. One time I was helping a client heal with her narcissist father, who's like 70, and he passed the week that she finally told him, hey, here it is, you can't treat me like this. And she laid it all out on the table, and it was kind of crazy because he passed that week. And it was kind of crazy that Spirit had me be a part of that. And when I'm a part of somebody else's journey, it's beautiful to me. And it's like humbling that I'm accepted into helping a complete stranger mend the fabric of their family. But just know that it's possible. And if Spirit's asking you to let go of something, let go of it. Stop holding on to it, and you'll get a better result too. So thank you. Barb said, I like your hair. I got a little cut because my hair, I understand when you get older, these are things that I'm learning, is most of us women, when we get older, my hair's thin and it doesn't look good on me long anymore. Because it's too thin and it pulls my hair down, my face down. So I like to cut it short. I used to have it all the way down almost to my chest. And I cut that in my 30s because it just, I don't know, it pulled my face down. So I understand why women cut their hair. And you know what? It's mostly men who are like, oh, you better not cut your hair. It's my hair, man. Like, if I want to cut it, I've been swinging this mop around for 41 years, okay? I could do what I want to my hair. Hello, Rainey. How are you? So, I'm going to share these, what I have to say about this, because this is going to also be on my YouTube channel. So if you guys don't get to catch the live or you have to leave, you can go and replay this. But I wanted to make sure that I wanted to share these messages from Spirit. They wanted me to hit these key points today on my live before I get into the messages. So, and they're the one that are ushering you guys in anyways. So if this is resonating, please hit the like button, drop a comment, share. Hey, Charlene, how are you? Hello, Maji. Okay, so get out of your own way this week. We tend to make our lives a lot more complicated than they are. And we tend to, if you're making things, this week, don't make appointments with people due to what's best for them. Okay, sometimes, I can't think of the word right now. A lot of times we don't do stuff out of necessity for ourselves. We don't. And we sabotage ourselves too. So we are on a Monday and it's September 19th. So we're like in the middle of the month, and a lot of times we sabotage our success because we always say what we can't do, but we never put the possibilities of what we can do because we're so caught up on the fact of what we can't do. And it's kind of like the Captain Obvious commercial that we already know what we can't do, but what could you do if you practice? Because there's a lot of things that I'm not very good at. Just going and try, like karate, gymnastics. I would probably hurt myself if I tried to do a somersault in the air. But if I actually practiced and trained and got athletic and fit, I would probably have more of a chance of not breaking my neck trying to do a somersault. but I'm not athletically fit, so therefore I'm not going to do that. So I used to have this bad habit of saying I can't, I won't, or it's not going to happen when I was younger. And I've learned to stop saying, stop affirming that, because now I'm just getting my answer. So if I don't, all I can do is my best. All you can do is your best. And if you put your best out there, the universe is going to reciprocate that. But if you do something half, like you were supposed to do it, and it wasn't just something you did out of, because you felt bad, you were really supposed to do a task and you just straight up decided not to do it and go the other way, that has consequences too. So, how much effort are you putting into your task? Are you putting more effort into worrying than you are your actual task at hand or the problem at hand? Sometimes we ruminate on a problem so much that like the problem is, the solution is going to be elusive to us, and it's just going to feel out of reach every day the more that you focus on it. It's kind of like when you can't find your keys, and then if you sit down for a moment and just chill, they pop up kind of thing. So switch up your routine. Like I said, I'm on here a little bit earlier, so I'm getting a different crowd of people. What are you doing? Like sometimes we get so caught up in routine. Who gets up every morning and drinks their coffee? I know I get up and drink my coffee every morning. Is that the first thing that most of you do? I know it is me. I know I get up. The first thing I do is go make a pot of coffee and then go do my thing. But sometimes we program ourselves into a routine so much that we forget that we have personal choice, that we don't have to have coffee every day. Hey, what if I made some hot chocolate? What if I made some tea? But we get in these routines sometimes. So routines are good sometimes, but sometimes routines can make you stagnant. When you're finding yourself, you're in the routine that you get up, you go to work, you get up, you take care of your kids, you drop your kids off at daycare, you fight the traffic, you go to work, then you pick up your kid, then you go do all their school activities, and then you go home, and then you kind of grunt at each other if you have a significant other because they're too tired and you're too tired, and then maybe you get to share a couple little things, and nobody wants to hear about the other one's story because they don't want to hear about work. And then it starts all over again. And then hopefully you even have that, because some people just go home and then they go home to their toxic marriage and the whole circle of chaos that goes on every night, and the worry, and so them actually going to work was the escape from all of that. Now they got to hit reality again and not feel good enough. So these are things that if you're experiencing this, know that you have the choice to switch up your routine anytime you want. You don't have to do something the same every day. And if you are doing that, that's why you're not getting your prayers answered, you feel, or you feel like you got a block. That's what it is. Your higher self is, your whole soul came here to experience life. Your soul did not come here like humans. And this is like the past 100 years, maybe as far back. Well, I would say, but more in the past 100 years, but at least in the last 1,000 years, we have become more to, this is what we put out here that we're supposed to do every day. If you go back to the caveman days, did we really have Fred Flintstone and a rock quarry that he had to go and punch a clock every day? I mean, really, guys, think about what we were doing before we had all these set things that we're told that we have to do every day. And just know that's how they implement control. I'm just saying. So you guys are going to get a little lesson this morning about a few little things. Okay, and shadows make up the collective. So this was a really big point that I learned. And if you guys want to watch this show, I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed if you're trying to do self-care and you don't understand what shadow work is. Go watch Shadow Effects by Betty Ford. Okay, or not Betty. I don't think her name was Betty Ford. I know the last name was Ford. Because I was like, isn't that the lady who set up the treatment center? It could be her. But it's Shadow Effects, and it's on Gaia. And I might have just been thinking Betty Ford when I wrote it, but I don't think her name's. But anyways, it's an author, and she was an addict, and her last name's Ford. And anyways, ultimately, this is what I'm doing out here too. Is I am not just here to heal, to be a healer, to be a life coach to one person, and that's why over the years I've kind of shifted into more group coaching or like personal one-on-one sessions that maybe aren't just longevity coaching. You know, I try to get as many people together as I can because ultimately this is about teaching the collective. If you see our world and you're like, all this chaos, all this murder, all this hate, all this crime, all the negative out there, right? That is because here's something that's gonna, our shadows as a collective have joined. The inner resembles the outer. That's why you are seeing such a mass spiritual awakening, and the light workers and all of us out here, and everywhere you turn on TikTok, you got a new light worker like me spreading angel messages or doing spirit messages. This was not acceptable here, guys. Even when I started out in 2018, it wasn't acceptable as it is right in this moment. And ultimately, the more that we heal our own personal shadow, it's going to take away from that collective shadow. So if you're the kind of person that's like, what can I do to heal the world? Start with yourself. It's really true, because our shadows are, you know, different strengths on their own, but together, think about all the cruel people in the world, like the cruel people that we've seen out there. Those are part of the shadows. So it's important. You really matter as a person, and your shadow matters because maybe as one you may not feel very strong, but when we all get together, that's a massive energy coming together. And that's why all of us light workers are coming together to help share this message with you guys, to help you understand that whoever told you healing was dumb and unnecessary was probably a narcissist back in the day that didn't have time for it, and he wanted to get things going. I have learned that a lot of things that we do out of habit, that out of being taught every day by when we were younger, a lot of that stuff is false. I'm like, why are we even following this still? And it amazes me. How did we even grab on to this way of living to begin with? Who was the one that thought of it and kept pounding it into our brains until we accepted it? If you go back to the 80s and 90s, you will look at stuff in such a different way. You're like, wow, like the DARE program. What was that all about? That did nothing. I have never met so many corrupt people. You want to know? You want to make new friends and you're a criminal? Go find the people that were in a DARE program. I'm just saying, it backfired all the way. All the way. I did deep self-reflection 8 years ago. Is that the same thing as shadow work? Yes. Except, no, it's not President Ford's wife, Betty. No, this is an addict. She's an author. And her name's Ford. I'll have to look it up for you. But shadow work is when you actually, it's not just about bringing it up and self-reflecting. It's about actually releasing it. So you're actually living a different way and you're not continuing those toxic patterns. So a lot of us look at stuff in our shadow work, but then ultimately we don't do the shadow work. We're like, oh, well, that's nice. Oh, I know how I feel this way, but most people are too scared because it says shadow, I think. And most people will not stand up to their other side, or they're completely oblivious because everybody has a shadow. So when you tell somebody they have a shadow, the ego kicks in and says, I don't have a shadow. I've done all this work. Well, if you're responding that way, that's not how somebody without a shadow responds, because they're like, oh, yes. And if somebody has done their shadow work, there's no defensiveness in it. They will respond to you in a loving manner. So I can usually tell someone who tells me I've done all the shadow work, I'm like, I think you need to go back and get a little refresher. But yeah, that's ultimately, because that's the thing why I'm talking about this, because people don't know what the shadow work is. And hold on, I'm trying to look it up. They don't understand it. And so they do it, but they don't do it all the way. So it gets in your way. And your shadow still comes up and you don't understand why you got a problem. Debbie Ford. There you go. I was like, it's not Betty Ford. Her name is, it's called The Shadow Effect. And it's a book too. Okay, and this is by Debbie Ford. I was like, it's not Betty Ford, I promise, because I kept going like, Betty Ford's the one that set up the treatment center. This is Debbie Ford. But ultimately, she had an addiction problem, and she kept going, like a lot of people, they go for 4, 5, 10 days. And they're like, I feel like $1 million, I'm ready to leave. And they run away, right? And that's that shadow side. It's not healed. So she kept going through this. She kept going and around and around and around and could never get it figured out. And then one day she went in there and she asked God to help her take this away from her. She said, I can't be like this anymore. I don't want this addiction. I don't want this. I don't want this. I want to be better. And she said in that moment, she went from being neurotic, crazy, manic, whatever you are when you're going into a rehab, to perfectly calm and peaceful. And all of a sudden she's like, I can do this. And she got up off the floor. And then next day she's like, as long as I got another day, if I can do it today, I can do it tomorrow. And then she ultimately stayed for the 30 days of treatment and got clean. And then Deepak Chopra's in there, and James Von Prague is in there too. And they're all talking about, it's just explaining to you what the shadow side is, because there's so much confusion around it. Because it's not, humans tend to think we got to just suppress and we got to eliminate. No, you don't need to go to war with yourself. That's why you're having this ultimate issue with your shadow side. You need to start managing it and know that your shadow side is there to help you as well. Your ego is supposed to be there to help stand up for you, because you know what? Just because you're love and light and an angel worker, I always say the lion's sleeping, it's not dead, because if you're a light worker, you went through some things to become a light worker. I've never met a light worker that had an easy, chill life, that no trauma. We are built to be put in so much trauma so we can come out here, live through it, fix it, and show you guys the tools how to do it and show you that it's possible. Because I'm like, how do I have so much, such a chaotic past? It's because I was supposed to come out here to understand things, to be able to teach you guys. So you can make this life your best life. So you can make this your best life, your best fantasy, or you can make it your worst nightmare, because you have the choice to choose every day. And if your circumstances aren't great right now, know that you can always come back and change them. Okay, you got a choice. As long as you're breathing, you can always change. But it's going to take some courage sometimes. So if you go and watch The Shadow Effect or you read it and you want some help with it, come check me out because I do shadow work. That's what my toxic shadows program is. It's cleaning up your toxic shadow with all your toxic relationships so you can find the best version of you. And my link's in my bio if you guys want to check that out. But that's what I do. And no, I want to let you guys know your third eye. Everybody's so worried about their third eye opening, right? They want to see spirits and all this. Did you know that forgiveness lies within your third eye chakra? If you are having a problem forgiving someone, that is because your third eye chakra is blocked. Your third eye is not just about seeing spirit and, seeing cool pictures in your mind. It's about being able to see to the future and be able to put together a blueprint so you can get there. And I think she said the shadow is like the hallway to your past and your present. So think about that. Do you want to drag that big old dark, if these were not cute and pink and shiny, would you want to drag these around with you everywhere? Because that's where your aura gets dim. If you can see auras, your chakras put out the energy to your aura. So if you don't have a lot of yellow in your aura, it's because your solar plexus chakra, which is yellow, which is the house of your courage, is blocked. So you can see when people are looking at your aura, if you're missing colors, it's the rainbow. Your chakras are the colors of the rainbow, Roy G. Biv. If you're missing one of those colors, that's how you know you have an imbalance in your chakras. And you can simply eat the colors of the rainbow to help fill in the gaps of the energy that you're missing. So if you're afraid, if you're in fight or flight a lot, eat red. That's your root chakra. Eat tomatoes. Eat bell peppers. I'm having I don't know. I keep thinking of a sandwich right now. I must be hungry. So know that you are yellow and lavender. Yes, because I feel like it would probably be indigo because I am an indigo child. So that's a fun yellow. I get that a lot. I get this. I've had people tell me I have this big, bright, like a boat light behind me. And that's how big my aura shines like gold, I've been told before. So that's also why I come out here. And you can tell I make space before I come out here to talk to people because, and I'll never, when I don't feel good, I tell people it's okay. I can't do it today. I'm going to have to do it tomorrow because my light, when it's not bright, people can tell. They're like, what's wrong? Are you okay? Like everybody's always like, are you okay? Because you got that look. If you're not smiling, people think something's wrong. But, people can really tell when I'm not the bright light that I come out here to be. And so I just go ahead and skip all that. And so, yeah, do things. I'm still not able to catch on to the word here. Don't do things out of, I'm not going to be able to think of the word. So, do things out of joy and what you want to do, not because somebody tells you have to do them. So thank you guys so much for joining me. And I appreciate all the love and likes. And I hope you like my little message that I just shared with you. Hold on. I'm trying to check something out here. Okay. So let's get into the messages. Everybody ran out because they didn't want a motivational speech, huh? Well, you missed out because if we think about this, most of us would have a better week if we would get somebody to get up and give us a personal little cheering up message. Non-duality. Let your authentic humanity shine forth while also bowing to the inner divine. You can become fluent at doing both. And this is about doing things in a non-conventional way because you are... Well, thank you, Barb. I'm okay because it's early and I gotta get on the schedule because people are like, who's this girl? And then other people are like, where have you been? Just that hour makes a difference. Such a different thing. So non-duality, definitely doing things differently, unconventionally. And there's some symbols here. If you resonate with those are definitely Reiki symbols here. And I feel like that's your third eye chakra. Not your third eye, your throat chakra. I'd have to look that up, but I feel like this is speaking about living the way that you want to live, speaking your mind. And sacred geometry is a big thing with you as well. That helps clear out your aura. You need to live in your courage and your healing divine self. Spend time in nature too. Yeah, it's definitely your throat chakra. You need to just speak your mind. And if people are like, that's weird, like you're on a spiritual awakening, well, then learn who your audience is and learn. It's kind of like being a salesperson. You learn what people want to talk about. If you want to be around people like that, then you learn how to talk about the right conversations. And some people don't want to hear all your messages. And just because you got a message, we're not meant to know everything. So don't, first of all, I'm going to put this out there for those of you that don't know. You need to ask people before you go giving messages because not everybody wants a message. It's a parlor trick sometimes. And I'm full of messages all the time. And I don't even have to look at these bad boys. These are for you guys because Spirit will just come in and I'll just start spitting some stuff off to you. And you're like, wow, yeah. And it's tuned in, tapped in. But when you're giving messages to people, some people aren't ready to embrace their shadow side. And I feel like it's on here. There's like a younger group, maybe. So older healers don't really do this. We're not going to jump in your DM and the scammers on here too. But don't be jumping in and just giving people messages. Ask them. And don't be creepy about it. Because it's weird when you say good morning or grand rising, and then people don't know what that means. First of all, if they're not in your soul tribe, there's certain words that if you want to make friends, you need to learn how to articulate your words. And it's not about not being authentic. I went about cussing, and I was like, if you want to be heard, you need to not cuss every other word because I will personally tune you out because it's garbage to me. It's not registering in my brain because I'm a little more enlightened than that. Now, if you sprinkle in your words to make a point to emphasize stuff, that's different. But when you're just like F this, and then the more vulgar and vulgar and vulgar that you get you're talking, I'm just like, people like me anyways will tune out. And I've tried to tell people, if you want to stay and you want to put a glass ceiling on yourself, keep doing that. Talk whatever way you want, act whatever way you want. But if you actually want to make it in the world where you're going to have an impact, it's not about conforming. It's about learning to read the audience around you. And I deal with so many different kinds of people. I try to help give the information on the level of the person I'm talking to, because I'm not going to talk to someone who has no idea about spiritual awakening and then get into all these theories. And I can tell when I'm around my people that I can start talking about weird spiritual stuff and they're like, ooh, let me tell you one. And then I can tell the people that are like, this is sorcery. Yeah. So, learn how to read your people, my friends. Whoa. Dropping the bomb over here. Messages. Somebody needs to know this. love. Not only love, but the divine love and your path. And your angels are wanting you to know that divine source is the idea that no person, place, or thing is your salvation, only love itself. And you can see the lotus flower there and the hummingbirds around here. This is about expanding your heart and your love and connecting back with source and trying to releasing the hate that and the judgment that people hold, because that's what this spiritual awakening is about. It's about you to disconnect with this shadow that's lurking over our earth right now, and it's about connecting back with the divine love and know that anything that is not love is fake and it's not real. So when you offer everything to the divine with detachment, you begin a love affair with spirit. And that's very important, because this is your confirmation. This is your path. Everybody's got a different path. Okay, and when it comes down to it, you're going to start seeing more of what was conventional before that and it's already starting, that everybody, like, having a spiritual awakening is common. Meditation, yoga is very common now. That's because somebody went on their path to make it common. Your path is unique to you. What are you supposed to be doing? It's not supposed to be stressing out and hating life. We get in those, and I know it's hard when you're displaced and you're going through the problems. And I've even worked with people that are going through all the chaos, and they told me this: that is not logical to think that way right now, because I have all this stress. And if I think about it that way, she couldn't really, like, she wanted to say, she didn't really know. She's just like, I'm afraid to think of it's going to be okay, because if I think it's okay, then I'm not in control. And then I'm just not doing anything. And us as humans, we feel like we have to do stuff to make it okay. And that's not true. If you would get out of the way and ask your angels for help, but then stop telling them how to do it. So you pray to your angels for love, but then every time they send you someone, you're like, nope, you didn't send me this, and this one. Even though I know the one that has this, and this is the toxic one that treats me like poop every time. But I've had people tell me, I want the angels to help me. I don't know. I've been single for 7 years, 20 years. And I'm open to anything, but they can't be fat. Can't be fat. And they can't eat meat. And they can't this, and they can't that. And I'm like, whoa, when did you become so perfect? Because what are they over there doing? Oh, well, she's going to be this. No, they're like, I just want a love mate. If we would just stop being so darn, it's not about, there are certain things you need to be picky about, okay? But when it comes to certain things, like their nose isn't round enough, their mustache isn't cute enough, at some point, I've met enough douchies in my life that when the one that comes by that isn't super hot, that is kind of maybe not as cute as the rest, but still cute because they have such a beautiful heart. I have dated that before. Nothing wrong with it, because I look for a beautiful heart. Because this, my friends, can be taken at any time. Okay? I had a girl when I was in the medical office. It was the saddest thing. And you girls be careful with, you guys be careful with the, she did an acid peel at home, okay? First of all, you need to go somewhere if you're going to do an acid peel. Even I see these, this new thing of taking the TikToks and putting the face mask, and then they're pulling it off and they're like, oh my God, it hurts. And they're laughing because they're trying to play it off. I'm like, that's not funny. That's like my worst nightmare, to put something on my face and all of a sudden my face come off. This girl walked into our, she had an emergency. She got a face peel off of Amazon. Okay, but some of that stuff is high grade chemicals that you need a professional to administer. She put it on her face, and she was of black color, and it burnt her face, and it made white splotches all over her face. And I was so sad for that girl that day, because one mistake took, and she was like 19, and her whole face was just, and that's just, it's crazy, because I've seen disasters. I saw a girl on here that went to go dye her hair, and all of a sudden she went to wash out the hair dye, and my worst nightmare too, all of her hair went in clumps out, and she was only like 18. That's right there, is stop putting so much emphasis on your beauty. Beauty can be taken at any moment. You can feel good. You can get up and do your thing. I get up, I do my hair. I try to do what I can to make myself feel good. But that's not gonna be in the forefront of my mind, because if beauty can be a double-edged sword for you sometimes. And some of those girls who are putting on so much, they're also suppressing their shadow side, because they don't realize at some point, why are we doing this every day because we want to do it, or is it something now that we feel we have to do? Because that's why they started coming out a few years ago. The Today Show did it, where they stopped putting makeup on, and Hoda Kotb and Kathy Lee did the whole episode with no makeup on, because we need to know what our beauty, we need to be okay with ourselves, whether we're beautiful or not. Because sometimes I've went through it, I've beat myself up, and that's why I told you I was telling myself all these nice things in my head one morning, and a light bulb started unscrewing, and then it popped out, and it hit my tile bathroom counter, and then it rolled. It did not break. And in that moment, and my guy saw it at the same time, so I didn't imagine it. And at that moment, that's when I got, and that was 2019, that's when I got in check of, hey, better get these thoughts under control, because thoughts are things. And I just made that light bulb. I had such negative thoughts that my energy went up there, and like telekinesis pulled that damn light bulb out and freaked me out, man. So when I tell you guys things, not because I think I know it all or I'm better than now, if some people would have told me this stuff a lot earlier in life, I feel like I could have saved myself so much time of wasting it, but I didn't understand it. So if you guys are going through it, understand. If you don't understand it, don't beat yourself up. It's not because you're stupid. It's because you just need to learn a few things. I can't see good enough to put my makeup on. I earned my wrinkles, yes. And see, these bad boys weren't there before. But now I have these. Those are my mom. I earned those during my kid. Here's another message, guys. And if you guys are liking this, go ahead and drop some likes. And also, I have a YouTube channel. This will be put up on there later. I do personal readings of, and I also do intuitive coaching for your toxic side. I do intuitive coaching for your shadow side, which is my Toxic Shadows program. So it's not about just healing your romantic side. Everybody's so worried about healing that. You need to heal. A toxic side is a toxic side. Okay, your toxic relationships can be anything from eating donuts when you know damn well you're a diabetic and you don't need to be eating donuts. Or working for that toxic boss who keeps talking to you any which way he wants to, and you keep taking it. That's a toxic relationship. Okay, it doesn't just have to be love. And a lot of people tune me out. And when I started this, that's why I coined toxic relationships, because everybody's so, I want love or I want this. Nobody ever looked in why we're not getting love. And people get mad at me if you come to me for a love reading, My job is not to make this fantasy story up for you of something that's not going to happen, because it's not happening for you. You're not on that capability. So people get a little upset with me. I haven't had it happen. Most people are thankful because now they've just learned that other person's just feeding them full of whatever. Okay, because if it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. And if I see something, I am the person that people have encountered. I'm like, I'm sorry. I know how good this feels, and I know that you truly care about this person, but what you want and what they want is not going to happen. And I'm trying to help you because I am seeing that he's going to come with he's going to come with a stick and come hit you in your knees. Okay. I'm just trying to be hey, heads up. That dude's gonna take you out and hurt you and rip your heart out like Mortal Kombat, okay? You might want to listen to me over here. But again, if you don't listen, I'm here to share the message. But I have had people actually come here and I've told them, they said, this girl said, I want my ex to come back. And I was like, that's not a good idea. If he comes back, it's gonna be for selfish reasons. Be very careful of that. She did not like my answer, so she went and found 9,000 other people to do a reading until she had someone say, oh, it's been a miscommunication, and you guys definitely, this is true love. And well, she met up with him and he dogged her extra super hard. I forgot even what he did, but he did it so much that she was up on a Sunday morning sending me messages, try to unalive herself. And I was like, there's a lesson right there. Stop getting messages from spirit and then only taking what you want, or trying to get your own happy ever after ending. Because if spirit's not making it happen for you, it's not supposed to. Okay? And if you're trying to make it happen, guess what? The angels are no longer working with you. Now you're working with the lower forces. Did you ever think about that one? Because everybody's so worried about the darkness and they're afraid of the evil, and that's why they don't mess with this stuff, right? But who do you think is manifesting that toxic person into your life? Because it ain't the angels. The angels have pleaded with you and tried to drop every song, every sign in the world to you that this person's no bueno. And you're like, they are bueno, they are mine, and I love them. And so who are you recruiting with now? I'm telling you guys, this maybe will make you stop. You have a choice when you pick up messages. You have a choice to listen to the dark or the light. And the dark can jump in your messages and give you a false message, right? But it's up to you. And I can tell when I'm getting a message from my angels and the light, because one, it's never scary, okay? It's never controlling, and it gives me free will choice. That's how you know who you're chatting with out there. But if you're inside of you is like, yeah, and you're devising all these plans to get back with this toxic person that the angels took away from you because you prayed for true love. Oh boy, so I love it. Great messages. So, and this is about, and somebody needs to hear this because they're definitely going through this. This is retrograde, and you got this grief going on. These all came out reversed. There's that hummingbird again, and you can see the hands right there. They're bound in rubber bands. And it says, I no longer want this fiery ring of resentment to block the good. Release me from its bonds. And that's what I was just talking about, is some of you out there this message is for is definitely bound to grief, and the heart's frozen right here because you need to get your heart, maybe you've had heartbreak over the years, but know that birds of a feather flock together. And if you can see, all these birds the circle is in the middle, and they all got their backs turned towards the circle because they're all flying in different directions. So are you going to let your heart lead you? Are you going to speak up for what's true in your life? Are you going to have mercy and compassion with yourself? Are you going to just flock with the other pigeons because it's more comfortable that way, and you're not going to have to, you're not really seen that way. Some of us kind of hide in the shadows. It's time to come out. It's time to show who you are. You were sent here for your own little mission, and I'm seeing roses on here. Roses about grace, beauty, passion. Have love for yourself. And it doesn't matter what other people, you were literally supposed to come here to be different. Okay? And right now it's about healing, that having freedom from your grief. Because if you picked a bad apple, it's okay, but don't get sucked back in. Okay, sometimes we make, we have something bad happen, and then we're like, we just keep punishing ourselves. Don't just keep punishing yourself. Learn the lesson and say, this is a lesson I need to know, and start working on it, because you can't shut your heart off. Okay, just like you have to have your heart and air to live every day. People think, oh, I'm just going to make my heart cold. And how many people have made songs about she's as cold as ice, yeah, and like shutting off your heart. You can't do that. Your heart is the main chakra of all your chakras, and you need that. You need all your chakras to be working right to feel balanced. If your energy is not balanced and the little wheels are not spinning in the correct way, you're gonna feel all funky. Okay, and you're going to end up, they turn into disease. That's what it turns up. This is a collective reading, so if this resonates with you, Irene, is probably for you. Because I just did a collective reading because somebody else is trying to follow the crowd too much, and it's really causing you grief because your higher self is not okay with you feeling embarrassed about herself, is what I'm hearing Spirit say. Stop making your inner teenage. It's like your inner teenager, not just your inner child. Everybody's so stuck on the inner child. What about our inner teenager? Think about it, how a teenager feels. You make your inner higher self feel weird, so therefore you're hurting your inner teenager. And at what age are you going to just do your thing without asking for permission from everybody else? Is another message that's coming in for somebody out there. You have the choice to fly away from this. And if you're seeing hummingbirds, this is definitely your, spirit coming in, because angels definitely come in hummingbirds. Hummingbirds they always fly around. They never sit. And when they do, it's at night, because that's when they go to sleep. So they actually, when it's cold, they can actually freeze almost to the point of where their heart beats like very slowly beating, and they become frozen on like the twig. And they can't move in the morning until the sun wakes them back up. So this is about keeping yourself busy and flying around and seeing your options. But Irene, I can give you a message that your angels want you to know about love. I think that's what you said. Can I have good news on love? You can always have good news on love, but love, that's back to what I was talking about, toxic love. You have to love yourself first before you can truly love another, because we're always reflecting the inner to the outer. So if love feels elusive for you, it's because you need to work on some things. But our egos take that wrong, and they're like, there's nothing wrong with me. And why does Spirit, I love this one, I've been told this too, why does Spirit want me to be alone? Spirit, I have to be alone? Well, because when you're not right, and you go mix energy and chords with another person who ain't right, you're both ain't right. And that's where the toxicity comes from. So there's a certain level of stuff that you need to heal from. And if you've been in 5 different relationships in a past year, maybe that's why. Maybe you were in so many relationships at one point that now it just finally hit it where that door got closed, because if you're by yourself, it's not to punish you. It is to help you. It's like doing a cleanse. So if we can try not to take this personal and know that Spirit just wants us to start raising our vibration, and even if we just start taking little steps to raise our vibration and put us first instead of Johnny Player Pants, who's got 5 girls all wrapped around his finger because he's cute. That's gets me. Why do we fall to succumb to people and do what they want because of their looks? All right, Irene, angels, thank you for blessing this message. I'm sorry, I'm woke this morning, and Spirit is very heavy in my heart to share these messages about toxic love, because I'm just really sick of losing people. I'm sick of women. I'm sick of DV. I just connected with my friend who passed because of some douchey dude who was just plain evil to her. And I think that's why I'm so, because we need to love ourselves first. Can't give from an empty pot. So if there's no love inside of you, you're only trying to love another person, guys, because you're trying to make up for that love that you don't have. And I'm talking about this from personal experience. And I don't know how I became so brave to come out here and just tell you guys, because most people are ashamed that they don't have self-love. I know I don't have self-love, okay? I do now. But when I first started, I was like, yeah, I'm the queen of not having self-love, because I was told that I was selfish if I had self-love. And I was also just like, the amount of yelling that I got for being sensitive or crying is crazy. So yes, I at 12 years old learned how to beat myself up and yell at myself because I had a narcissist tell me it wasn't convenient for them. And ever since I've learned that, I've learned to put myself first, and then the right people will come around, because I attract, I don't chase. Message do we have for Irene? And this came up reversed because it's having faith. And so I hope what I just said helps you out a little bit, because it's not about, you've already written the person into your life. Your soulmate's out there, but you have to learn a few lessons. And a lot of us are like, we're not programmed that way. We grew up on Disney movies. We're told that our prince is coming to save us, and he's not. We're the prince. I'm saving myself. I tried the princes out there. No, this princess saved herself. And therefore, when I have that strong love conviction, the mate that I'm going to attract is going to meet me on that level. So therefore, they're not going to try to take me down a peg because I sound smarter than them, or get mad at me because I don't stand on my head and make them food and take off their boots and rub their feet. Who am I? I'm a human. I am not your person. Okay, but like, this is the mindset that was programmed, especially in the 50s. We're starting to come out of it, but I still see people like that. I'm like, at some point, I've learned through my trauma that at some point, what are you doing for me? Because this seems like I'm serving you. You're getting a lot out of this, but what am I getting out of it? Because now I'm just getting resentment. And the moment that because I have a karmic lesson of resentment from my good old mother. I found out my karmic lessons. That's one of them. Anger was from my dad. Resentment was from my mom. And I was like, yes, awesome one. So if I even get in the energy of resentment, I have to cut you off. Because you were not special enough, I'm sorry, to undo all these years of healing that I've put into myself. And that's how, that's about standing your ground too. So trust your faith in this situation. The number 12 is prominent for you too, because 1212, there's actually You can look up the meaning. That's got a bunch of different meanings, but 1212 is about a single female in solitary who is ready to find love, but know that you don't got to look for it. You just need to write it down. What do you want? What do you see yourself having? And then keep reviewing that and visualizing it. Love will pop up when you stop looking for it. I promise. But you got to live like the butterfly. You got to live in the present moment, because the present moment's the only thing that exists right now. You can't recreate the past. Maybe if you went back and if you got all the players, if you went in spirit and got all the souls that decided to play that part of your story with you, that's the only way you could recreate it. But it still wouldn't be the same, because time is not something that stops. Time is always moving forward. Okay, so that's why we can't recreate the past. And once it's over, it no longer exists. Now all that remains is the love and the lessons. Okay, and we really chose how we went over like a dress rehearsal before we came down here. But that's a whole nother lesson. But 1212 is very significant for you, and no 2 + 1 in numerology that's reducing 12 but that's 3, and 3 is a significant number because that's about it's about protecting yourself, and 4 is about laying the foundation, and putting in the work. So you need to kind of rest and refocus with you. And love is all around. There is love everywhere all the time. Simply acknowledge this as truth. So know that you have love coming to you, but it's about, I feel like maybe you're taking the toxic option, the toxic shallow option, out of convenience and out of not being alone. And you're overlooking the real love and the true people that are around you that could bring happiness to you. And number 16 is a karmic number lesson as well. So definitely know that love is coming to you, my friend. And love is all around you. So don't focus. You're focusing on more of the desires. I want to feed my ego wants the desire of love, of touch. But what is love? Because physical touch and lust is not love. And we're getting that super confused out here because we want love, but love is supposed to be kind, caring, and all these things. But what we're really truly desiring is the physical, animalistic touch rather than the true love, because love takes on a whole other thing. Okay, love is about coming home and you guys are angry at each other because somebody left the toilet up and the other one fell in the toilet, or whatever it happens to be. You got toilet, or you got toothpaste on the mirror, whatever it is. That takes a lot to still love each other and make each other breakfast, or ooh, here's a deer, let's go look at this deer together, even though I'm not talking to you this week because you just done made me mad. There's a lot of things that go with love. So I think we use the word love so much, and I'm probably gonna have a lot of people disagreeing this morning, and that's perfectly fine, because when you start understanding what true love is, you don't usually argue anymore. It's just like, oh yeah, that is, you are correct. But again, this goes back to the shadow side and nobody wanting to face it. All right, my phone is being silly. We're not gonna charge them. That's fantastic. All right, well, I'm going to get off here anyways. I don't know what's going on with my phone, but I'm going to leave you guys a message. Thank you so much for joining, and we do use the word love too much. Yeah, it just, and it's okay to use the word love, but when you're going to and saying, I want love, we don't know. And then you're saying, I want this toxic guy. And then you got like these 3 toxic options, and you're like, well, who can I have love with? None of them. Well, why not? Because I want love. Because we don't know what love is. Because if we have true love, we have it within ourselves. And then the person that comes with us compliments us. And I feel like I don't have a lot of fans this morning about this, but this is okay because this is my journey of sharing what the love and light of I'm going to help release this toxic shadow that's over people that keeps blinding them to keep getting with these toxic people that serve them no good. Because if you're trying to be with someone to heal them and be their mommy and be their because I hear a lot of that, we ultimately end up being like their mom and their shrink. And they're not even, but they're playing you. 9 times out of 10, they're just, some people really are, but I find out a lot of it, they're like, yeah, he's healing. I can see it. He's healing. No, that's wishful thinking. He's not healing because I saw him hanging out with some girl. Okay? Why he's still talking to you? I'm just saying, he's telling you what you want to hear because he's a narcissist, or he just simply is that hurt. He doesn't care. So, all right, my friend, I want to leave this message with you guys is ease. Definitely, it's easy for me to receive. It's easy for me to receive. It's easy for me to receive. That's a fun little message because a lot of times we block our abundance by not opening up our arms to receive. And also, since we were talking about love, sometimes we end up blocking our love because we have such an idea of how it's supposed to happen. We don't just let it flow. So Spirit's saying today, let your love and your light shine and your love flow, and know if it's meant for you, it'll definitely come for you. But if your angels say this is no good for you and you keep trying to force something into your life, know that you're not manifesting with the angels anymore. Now you're manifesting with the lower dark forces. And they'll give you anything you want because they're shallow and they don't care. Because it's funny to them when people sell their soul. That's how it comes. So know you have a choice to manifest with your angels for your higher good, or you can manifest that toxic person into your life, but there's a consequence to that. That's where the heartbreak comes. Have you ever had people say, don't go back with your ex, he's no good? And you're like, I know what I'm talking about. You go back with him and same thing. So know that, start standing in the flow, start allowing things to come with you. And if Spirit's trying to push something out of your life, maybe reflect on it, meditate on it, and ask, why don't you want me to have this in my life? And Spirit will tell you, and then you can reflect on, oh, well, I don't want that in my life, because there's always something unknown. If Spirit's taking it out of your life, it's because there's something unknown to you that's behind it. And Spirit loves you and wants to protect you. So if Spirit's taking something out, definitely let them take it out, because you got to make room. You got to make room for your blessings. And if you have all this stagnant stuff from the past just locked in, you're not going to be able to release it. So there's 4 elephants here, and 4 is a number of putting in the work, having a strong foundation, and that matriarch of the family is coming through. You got to stand in your power to receive your blessings to shower your family with. So, and they're definitely saying clearing. There's that elephant again. Clear out what no longer serves you, and you'll be amazed how much better you feel when you don't keep lying to yourself saying, I have to do this a certain way, or I have to be around these people, or I have to do this, because when you do that, you lock yourself into a little box, and then that's what blocks you up from being able to receive. So you just got to be open and go with the flow. And sometimes if you don't like something, you can say, I don't like that. I don't accept that in my energy. But you need to clear out all those beliefs that no longer serve you, because in the middle of belief, there's lie. And sometimes, especially religious backgrounds, and just our backgrounds, they put a lot of unnecessary stuff that they wanted us to believe, but we didn't really get the choice of. We got taught it at such a young age that we didn't really have a choice of, do I like this or not? So now if you're at that point, now you got a chance. Now you can decide which ones you want to keep in your life, which traditions you want to keep in your life, and which ones you don't. And if you release one that you don't, replace it with something that's good. Okay, so I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining today. I appreciate you, and how fun. Boop. We'll end this with. Really, angels? It won't let me do it. All right, my friends. I love you. You guys have a great day, and spread some love and light today.